So my name is Rohan Pawar, along with my group members Sarthak Bhosle and Athar Kotwal. We are going to present CCN case study on threat intelligence feed in cybersecurity platforms. So let us begin by looking at the content we are going to discuss in this presentation. We'll begin with introduction to threat intelligence feed, then the importance of it, then what are the benefits offered by threat intelligence feed, then what is the significance of the threat intelligence feed and the working, then how does attack prevention mechanism works along with the threat intelligence feed, and my group member Sarthak will explain about the TLP, which is nothing but traffic light protocol, and then he will list out all the top critical threat intelligence feed to track for any institution or organization. Then Atharva will explain all these platforms in like thoroughly, like how they work and how they function and how they contribute to the organizational IT security. So let us begin by introducing the threat intelligence feed and giving an overview about it. So what exactly is threat intelligence? So here is the straightforward and simple definition given. Let us go through this. So threat intelligence is data that is collected, processed and analyzed to understand a threat actors' motives, targets and attack behavior. Threat intelligence enables security teams to make faster, better and informed data-backed security decisions and change their behavior from reactive to proactive in the fight against threat actors. So let us revisit this definition and see what are the jargons here. See, so it says threat intelligence is something. It's like a data which you collect from the internet, from the various sources, which contains the motives, targets and attack behavioral patterns, and this is all for the benefit of the security teams to make the faster decisions. Okay, so here the word which is mentioned as reactive and proactive. So reactive is something which you do after the incident has happened. Proactive is something you prepare for the incident in advance so that it can be mitigated. Okay, so to fight against threat actors. So let us move forward with the definition. It says insights and data from the threat intelligence feed can be used to block known malicious sources. So it can be any endpoint, IP address, or any version of the package or any program or software over the internet. And second one is support threat detection, and third one is prioritize alerts and guide remediation activities and add context during an investigation. So all of these are essential for an organization to ensure that it has a secure IT infrastructure and digital assets. So it says prioritize alerts and guide remediation activities. So all of these has to be in run so that you get up to date information about the real time attacks happening on the organizations, so that our organization can be protected from these kind of attack. So threat intelligence feeds just make sure that you get the latest attack behavioral patterns so that organization digital assets can be saved. So on the right hand side you can see there is the comparative analysis of the threat feeds and threat intel feeds. So what exactly are these? So if we read, threat feeds and threat intelligence feeds are both real-time data streams that gather cyber risks or cyber threat information. However, the key difference between the two is context. Yeah, the context is the differentiating factor in this. So what exactly is threat feeds? So these are basically just data streams from the internet source to gather the cyber risks and cyber threat information. And threat intel feeds are more of reports or pieces of digital forensics that suggests that network may have been breached or the relevant context of the issues and alerts. So it's something like that. So all of these are being processed with AI ML, and the raw feed data deduplicate and provide context around the findings, help make the data more actionable and thus more useful for the IT security team. So let us move on to the next slide, which says why are cyber threat intelligence feed important? Because see, every organization's backbone nowadays is their digital assets. any technical organization we consider. So why cybersecurity threat intelligence feed is important? So threat intelligence feeds reduce the time it takes to collect security data, track the current state of the cyber threats, and provide timely and accurate data to security teams. So the software programs written in the organization contains thousands and millions of lines of code. So these lines of codes may have few bugs or the bad code which can get the programs or software or the running application compromised. So all of this has to be updated and patched with the along with regards to the latest threat intelligence feed. So on the various sources of internet, we get to see the zero-day attacks happening just because of the vulnerabilities occurred in the application code. So for that, security teams has to do timely audits of the application code, so that it states it has the up to date patches, so that it can be secured and not compromised by the adversaries. So feeds provide real-time threat data, so security teams are aware of potential issues as they are discovered. A slow response to threats can lead to the major data breaches and high recovery costs. So it says a very strong point here. If the patches or the application is left vulnerable, then it can cost the organization a high recovery cost, or it can also lead to data breaches, because the attackers or black hat hackers are very fast and fast at discovering vulnerabilities in the application code or the endpoints of the organization. So if threat data is correctly screened and managed, security teams can count on its accuracy and leverage it in investigations. So even if the attack has happened, so these threat intelligence feed can also help in leveraging into the investigations, like in digital forensics, to catch the bad actors. So there can be two types of threat intelligence feed. So one is open source and another one is paid. So both have their own pros and cons, so that we'll discuss in the further slides. So let us have a brief overview of the open source and the paid intelligence feed. Okay, so paid consists of third-party services, like these platforms will be explained by Atharv Kotwal in great details. So let us have a normal overview of. So there is something called as OSINT, which is open source information threat hunting. So it says, so whatever it's available on the internet is called OSINT, which is open source available, right? Free threat feeds are generally based on open source data and maintained by members of an online community. So like any dark forums or dark web forums can be the part of the open source intelligence feed. And many open source threat feeds specialize in a specific type of threat activity, such as malware URLs, spam, IP addresses. Some of the most popular open source intelligence feeds include URL Horse, which is a platform for having a threat intelligence feed of the malware URLs or any suspicious links. And another one is SamFoss project, which tracks email spammers and spam related activities. So it's more of a related to email. So yeah, that was the brief overview of the open source and paid intelligence feed. Let us move on to the why threat intelligence feed. So till now we have gotten the better understanding of how exactly threat intelligence feed is contributing to the organizational security. So let us see more at what are the benefits of the threat intelligence feed. So it provides practitioners external visibility on known malicious sources. So this task can be tedious. So the organization doesn't have to hire many bug bounty hunters or penetration testers to do all of this process manually. So that is the thing which gets replaced by the threat intelligence feeds, because it automatically ingresses the data from the various sources and make sure that the security teams are aware of every up-to-date or zero-day vulnerability attacks. So it basically increases the efficiency and improves resource allocations, enhances the proactive security measures, and improves speed. Because if all of these tasks are done by a single person, then it can be tedious, and it can be prone to human errors, and it can also lead to data breaches afterwards. So this is why the organizations use threat intelligence feed, just to replace all of these with something automated. So we have a nice diagram on the left hand side which says in the starting node we see there is a data source, and it is connected to the OSINT, then commercial feeds, then internal logs. Okay, so what is OSINT? In the previous slides I explained what exactly is OSINT. It's a open source intelligence feed. Then on the next we have commercial feeds as in whatever the proprietary and the private organizations which are providing the threat intelligence feed, those are considered in the commercial feeds. And the internal logs says the application logs for those applications which are running internally of the organization. And all of these data is aggregated, and then the analysis is being run with the help of AI/ML algorithms or models, and then threat analysis is done, then the integration with actionable intelligence or automated responses. So based on this analysis, the alerts or the warnings or anything like that, I mean the events can be triggered to patch the application, or any email notification to the security team or development team can be sent. So this is how the intelligence feed works. So we'll also look into the individual steps in the further slides. So let us move on to the next. Okay, so this diagram explains what exactly is significance of threat intelligence feed. Okay, yeah, so if we see, here is a nice looking diagram which explains deployment process of an organization, from since the code and build and then test and then deploying to the production in a containerized environment. So as you can see in the bottom right corner, we see threat intelligence feed. So let us begin from since how the application code is written. Okay, so when the code is written, it is built and the test and deployed to the production in the containerized environment, and the logs are being sent via secure tunnel. Logs are being sent using secure tunnel to the parser, and then processed logs are processed through log analyzer LLMs, and then using elk stack or anything like that is being stored into the database. And based on these logs, and we see there is something called as crawlers here, which is nothing but which in aggregates the data from threat intelligence feed and compares them, or just processes them with along with the logs, just to come to the conclusion if the application code or the logs are malicious or like vulnerable, or it can be compromised. So based on the threat intelligence feed, it makes the decision to patch this into the application code. And if it is a zero-day vulnerability, then the security team or the development team are immediately notified about this, and the patch is built or developed, or it can also get the patch from the internet sources if there is one available, or else the development team can patch the application code, and then the updates is being pushed to the code, and the whole CI/CD pipeline is triggered again. So this is how threat intelligence feed contributes into the traditional IT CI/CD deployment of the application into an organization. So let us move on to the next slide, which says working of threat intelligence feed. So we have talked about the working of threat intelligence feed. So let us go revisit this topic again with great details. So how threat intelligence feed gather data. Yeah, so the gathering data is the most crucial part, because If there is no data, then we cannot analyze anything, and the rest process will not be existing. So how exactly feeds are getting the data? Okay, so feeds work like many other data feeds. The system is programmed to automatically receive, store, deduplicate, and prepare data that matches certain qualities from predetermined sources. In many cases, security teams use threat intelligence platforms. So TIP will be explained in great details by Atharva Kotwal, and the data to coordinate this activity. Yeah, these platforms are responsible for giving the data to the threat intelligence feeds, whoever organization has been subscribed to it. So here is a procedural description of each step, like defining the data requirements, automating the data collection, convert data and prepare it for the analysis, analyze data, and then based on the all those things, there is a subsection with for the strategic intelligence, tactical intelligence, operational intelligence. So all of these definitions are given. We have already talked about it, so we won't do it again. So moving on to the next slide. So this is a traditional attack prevention mechanism of a pretty standard for an organization. So as you can see on the left hand side, we see legitimate user and the hacker. Okay, just trying to breach the service, and there here is the ISP A and B, which is aggregated to balance the load. And then if you see on the top, we can see that there is threat intelligence feed, which is directly connected to the network and DNS. So in the previous slides, we learned about the URL, like malicious URL and malware URLs are being used in the threat intelligence feed for organizations to be aware of these kind of URL. So threat intelligence, so like in the DNS and the network part, it will automatically detect these kind of URL, and then it will block the access of the legitimate user to these URLs or links. So this is how it is also contributing into the attack prevention mechanism, and all of the applications are protected in the application tier, and the legitimate users traffic can go through the pipeline, but the hackers or attackers traffic will be blocked at each step after the check. So yeah, over to Sarthak.